Yeah, and that's the beauty of understanding systems from a complexity perspective, from seeing systems like education, which are overwhelmingly problematic, and they just are overwhelming when you try to look at it and go, how do we fix this? But when we see it as a complex adaptive system, all that complexity that we see is the emergent property, meaning the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to fix the outcome, but the outcome's already happened. What we have to understand is what are the inputs? And the inputs in complex adaptive systems like education are the agents and the rules they follow when they interact with each other. So what we want to do is sort of think about the agent of information. That can be an agent,
Mm-hmm.
the agent of a student,
Mm-hmm.
the agent of a parent, the agent of a teacher. And in particular, what happens when those agents interact with each other? What do they focus on? What are the rules that govern their behavior?
Right.
And right now, the rules that govern their behavior are completely out of whack with learning and preparation for real life.
Because those rules are set from almost an external force focused only on a particular outcome?
Somewhat in the case of standards and test scores and all that kind of pressure, but they're also based on just our cultural understanding of what our current education system does and why it does it. Sometimes we don't even know why it does it. But for example, if information has relatively low value, any given piece of information, then why are we so focused on relaying information?
Yeah.
Right? If a mental model, the change in mental model is learning. So if we go down to the mental model level and we know that information organized is what creates meaning, and information is relatively free for everybody,
Yeah.
then what we really want to focus on is the O part. How do we organize information, which is called thinking?
Mm-hmm.
How do we organize information better? How can we get good at organizing information better?
Well, one of the ways that you've said that I think is really easily understood is it's a shift from what we're thinking about to how we're thinking about things.
Yeah.
So in a large system that's focused on, so far has for a lot of reasons focused on sort of content mastery and information, you're saying, I think what you're saying is, well, we need to now focus on how are we processing all of that information to make it meaningful, and that is a skill set.
Yes, and predominantly what we're doing is we're teaching what to think
Mm-hmm.
rather than how to think, number one. And number two, we have this very, I would say, dysfunctional paradigm of education, which is that when we teach something, it is learned. We call that the coverage curriculum, right?
Okay.
So if a teacher teaches, then the students learned it. We kind of have that assumption. So what did we learn in class this year? Oh, well, we learned this and this and this, and then we go through the curriculum.
What you covered.
What we covered is what was learned, but we know for a fact that that is not true.
Based on all the data on retention and things.
And tests and all of it,
Yeah.
right? So there's an assumption made, which is what the teacher covers is what the students learn, and that is a false assumption. So what we want to know is what are the students learning,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not necessarily what is the teacher covering. And we want to focus on the learning part rather than the teaching part.
Yes, and I want to slow you down for a
Yeah.
minute because we have a lot of friends who are educators and who are teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole idea of covering curriculum comes from the pressure to teach to a test, comes
Absolutely.
from the pressure to meet standards, and is the thing that you started out with, which is teachers want to teach. Teachers don't want to be paced. Teachers don't want to be scripted. Teachers don't want to have these external forces that have to change the way they interact with their students.
Teachers want the same thing that parents want.
Yeah.
Right? They love their kids. They love the kids that are in their classroom.
Yeah.
And they want those kids to just be like, like do amazing things. They want to see their kids do amazing things. Like by and large, most teachers, I'm not saying every single teacher is that way, but
Yeah.
by and large, most teachers want that for their kids. They want to develop their kids. They want to see their kids learn and change over the semester and become remarkable adults that get all the things that they're interested in bringing to their life.